Welcome to part 2 on how to efficiently create a text-based exam on Exam.net. We're now going to move over to our configurations page. Once I'm here, I'm able to apply all the settings that I require for my students at a class-wide level. But what's important to note is that you're able to set settings for your individual students as well. This is, however, not done in this section, but at a student level on the Monitoring and Results tab. You will be able to learn much more about this in the video on applying individual student accommodations. For now, let's get going on how to set the relevant accommodations for all the students taking this test. In our general settings, you're able to anonymize the exam, where all student identities are replaced by unique codes. You can then reveal the identities after you have graded the exam. You can set a prescribed time limit, where you predefine how much time the students will have before they hand in their exam. If you're going to be having an assessment that takes place over numerous sessions, you are able to send students individual resume keys. Students are then able to access their examinations or their tasks as long as the test is open. What's very important for us as educators, though, is to remember that if you do not want them accessing their tests or their assessments between sessions, you need to make sure that your access is closed. Only open it for the relevant time sessions. If your school makes use of an LMS tool, you are able to connect Exam.net through Google Classroom or Microsoft Teams. Depending on what information you require for your assessments, you can choose them here in the Student Information section. In this configurable field, you can change it to whatever you require for that specific test. For example, ID number. Perhaps you need that for an external national exam. If you have students who are absent from an exam and you want them to take a make-up test, you can enter allowed emails here, where only those students will be able to access it through their exam key. You could also enter all allowed emails for all students taking the prescribed exam. Please remember that for every test you create, a unique exam key is generated, as we do not have student accounts for Exam.net, only exam keys per exam and teacher-based accounts. This allowed emails section, as we said before then, can be used for make-up tests or for your entire class taking the exam. Depending on the purpose, you can choose whether you want to use it or not. It is not obligatory. Now, in our student workspace area, when we initially looked at our paper through the student view in the last video, we saw that our students had a test and a blank sheet to write on. But you can also choose to configure this section and define the content. We move from blank sheet to yes, define content. We then click edit and we write in here whatever we want our students to see. No extra material, for example. You can also limit the number of words your student is supposed to be writing. However, it will just warn them that they're exceeding the number of words. It will not stop them from continuing with their assessment. So if perhaps they're doing an essay exam, it'll say you have now exceeded 800 words if they have written 900, for example. You can turn on spell check here for the relevant language. Again, if you have a student perhaps who is EAL and is in a class of students who are first language speakers, and you want that accommodation to only be for that particular student, I remind you again, you will turn this on in the Monitoring and Results tab. Now we have this wonderful feature where students are able to upload additional work via a phone and a QR scanner, where every student's exam receives a unique QR code. And this feature is very handy because you can use it in art, biology, mathematics to upload any handwritten drawing, diagram or calculation. We have always received very good feedback about this feature, and I myself have used it too. Students are also able to access computer files to upload if you enable this option to add additional work. Now we get to a very important part of our configurations, and those are our accessibility tools. These are the tools that you're going to turn on either at a class-wide level here or in the Monitoring and Results tab here for the individual students. Let's select a few. For example, we also have audio files available. If you're running a listening comprehension test, you can activate the audio file section by adding a new audio. You just upload it directly from your computer. There are a variety of subject tools that you can turn on specifically orientated towards mathematics or science and programming. But we also have a drawing tool and a handy audio recorder. What's important when you activate the audio recorder setting is that you need to check that it works with your student's operating system before they take the examination. Let's pop on the drawing tool and the calculator as well, just so you can see what it looks like. We also have some mathematical formula sheets available, as well as chemistry for a variety of curricula. Now, what I need for my current test are additional PDF resources or test excerpts to go together with my exam paper. I'm going to click on Add PDF Document and select the two documents that I require. Now I have uploaded them and I'm satisfied with what I see. I can toggle them up and down in matter of importance if I need to, otherwise I can leave them as is. You're also able to upload external resources such as a YouTube video or an external link. But what's very important if you're going to embed an external resource is that you know it can only be used in the high lockdown mode or the disabled lockdown mode. So that's something important to remember, and you can find more information on this in our support centre. And so we get to the section which is one of the most important parts of using the Exam.net platform. Now, we recommend when you are running a high-stake exam that you are going to use the High Lockdown app, which is SEB for Windows, our native application for Mac, and our app for Chromebooks. If for some reason you cannot use the High Lockdown app, you can allow students to continue in the medium lockdown mode. However, you as the teacher will need to choose how to let them back in. If you're using the high lockdown mode only, they are, as it sounds, completely locked into their environment. So that would be the high mode. If you are doing a formative assessment, a portfolio task, or just a quick quiz in class, you can disable the mode entirely so that the lockdown mode is turned off and students can then research and add in extra information, perhaps work collaboratively with friends too. In order to choose the right lockdown mode, this comprehensive diagram here is available to you to make sure you've selected the right one for your exam. And now that I'm satisfied that I've applied all the relevant configurations, I can preview my exam. I can see speech to text has been activated. I can see the various resources I've added on the side here, including my extra PDFs. I am now satisfied with my test and I can save it. And here my exam will pop up in the My Exam section with the title, the uniquely generated exam key, date created and security status, as well as the access, which as you can see is closed. I can open it for new entrances. I can make it discoverable for students entering the exam, where they will sit in a lobby until they're all present, and then I will open the exam. I can also schedule my exam and set a time for it to start. If I click on these three dots, I can give another teacher access. If perhaps I cannot take the test that day with my students, or perhaps I want to share it for collaboration. I can duplicate the exam and I can also share the exam template via a link. And now I'm satisfied that my exam is completely finished and I am ready to go. So that is how easy it is to create and configure a text-based exam on Exam.net. And I look so forward to taking you through our next assessment format, which is going to be using question types for both summative and formative testing.